What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another one. And in this one, we're going to be talking about a recently signed addition here for the New England Patriots, as they have signed free agent wide receiver Marvin Hall to what I believe is a one-year contract. Of course, the terms currently are not yet known. I would expect this to likely be the veteran minimum for about a one-year deal. Guys, this is a camp body. Okay, I'm just going to go right into it. That's what this is. This is a guy who definitely has the ability to fight for a roster spot, but you're looking at what he's done in the league. You're looking at his status of a player. He's not someone who's going to come in who's a number one guy, number two guy, likely not even a number three guy, but at best, I would say number three is where he would play. And this is not a reason for the Patriots to not go and not acquire another wide receiver, for them to be out of the sweepstakes for Julio Jones. I think that's what a lot of people are going to say. A lot of people are going to comment that. That is why right at the start of this video, I want to say that that's not what this means at all. This isn't, oh, Patriots signed Marvin Hall, they don't need Julio Jones. Because really, one of the biggest things the Patriots need is a true number one guy, right? Marvin Hall, not that guy at all. Likely a guy who's going to be cut unless he just somehow is able to show up. But nonetheless, let's get into the player profile here. Marvin Jones is known for being a speedster. He's fast, okay? That is the type of player he is. He isn't going to be your Jacoby Myers. He isn't going to be your Kendrick Bournes, your Julian Edelmans, your Wes Welkers. That's not his play style. He isn't a 50-50 guy like your N'Keal Harry's, or even if you want to look at your tight ends like a Jonnu Smith or a Hunter Henry, he's going to be more in the realm of a speedster. So like a Nelson Aguilar, a Damiere Byrd, a Philip Dorsett, those types of guys. Now, he entered the league a few years ago. He entered the league in 2016, actually signed by the Oakland Raiders, but as a UDFA. So he does have experience in the NFL, and since then has been with a couple of teams. His size also is really not going to help the Patriots out all too much. 190 pounds, so not a bad frame at all, but he's not going to bring anything to you height-wise. 5'10", someone who usually is going to be playing in the middle of the field. Expect him to play in the slot. He's not a guy who really plays on the outside. I do expect the Patriots definitely to try him out there. It's not like he's never played there before, but if you are going to look at his history, at where he's played and where he's really excelled, it is going to be the slot, and a big part of that is going to be that height at 5'10". He's not going to be a guy that you plug on the outside and is going to be catching 50-50 balls. He's going to be catching these tough balls because, hey, in reality, 5'10", he's not a mismatched nightmare. But I definitely wouldn't say this is a bad addition by the Patriots. I do actually like the addition. This is going to bring some more competition into training camp. Of course, if he makes it that far, which I do expect. This also, of course, does bring the Patriots to 90 players. So they are at that 90 mark officially for the 90-man roster. So if they would like to sign anybody else, they are going to have to release someone from this point out. But Marvin Hall ran a 4.28 40-yard dash. So this is a similar situation to a Damiere Byrd, but I would say a worse version, like your Kmart, your Walmart version-esque of a Damiere Byrd. And it doesn't come to speed or acceleration because that is very similar. Damiere Byrd also ran a 4.28. This is faster than both Brandon Cooks and is also faster than Philip Dorsett when looking at the 40 times, but it comes to the hands. That was his problem in the past, is having reliable hands, and I think that's going to be a big reason essentially why he doesn't make the team. The Patriots also are not in a situation like they were a year ago where a guy like Damiere Byrd ended up being their number one guy at most times. If somehow Marvin Hall is able to make this final roster, I could really see this being a situation like how they have used a Damiere Byrd, a Philip Dorsett, a Brandon Cooks in the past. Somebody who they use as a speedster, someone they try to use as a threat down the field, but someone they can also use on running plays at times, kind of your jet sweeps, your end arounds, something they really like to do with these faster guys. If we're going to look at his PFF grade in 2020, not great. Not great at all. 57.4 overall, receiving grade of 56.8, a rushing grade of 58.7. He had one rushing attempt in 2020. He only had 1 yard, 0 touchdowns, and again, averaged about 1 yard because he had one attempt. In 2020, though, he was targeted about 31 times with 18 receptions, 302 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, 4 drops. Like I mentioned, those drops, big problem with him. But 4 drops and was averaging 16.8 yards per reception. Now, in 2019, much better season. Production-wise wasn't as good, but graded-wise from PFF was a whole lot better. 2019, overall grade of 85.4, receiving grade of 84, rushing grade of 63.1. He was only given 1 carry, just like the year prior, in the running game. He had about 7 yards, though, and of course, averaged 7 yards there. In the receiving game, he was targeted 10 times, 7 receptions, 261 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 0 drops that season, but let's remember, only targeted 10 times, 7 receptions, and was averaging 37.3 yards per reception. If you want to look back to the 2018 season, go back a little bit more, he had an overall grade of 55.9, a receiving grade of 56.8, and a rushing grade of 53.2. That year, he had 2 carries, but put up 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, didn't put up any statistics there. Receiving, he was targeted 19 times, 10 receptions, 149 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 1 drop, and averaged 14.9 yards per reception. You can see that these average yards per reception per year is that he works very well in the middle to the deep threat or the deep field. He's not going to be someone that comes to the Patriots and works that short to intermediate route because he works intermediate to deep. That is what he does. That is how he excels. That has been his playing style from the start, and it's just not going to change. Now, yes, he was an undrafted signing by Oakland, but never actually made it to play with them. He spent from 2017 to 2018 with the Atlanta Falcons, 2019 with Detroit, 2020 started with Cleveland and only played about 1 game with them, and then was re-signed by Detroit to play another 11 games. Honestly, if the Patriots didn't have the depth they did right now, between receivers, between tight ends, I would not hate Marvin Hall as a number 3 to number 4 guy. If this was last year, I think that this would be an excellent pickup and something that does make a lot of sense. But you have to keep in mind the depth that the Patriots currently have. And it's not like Marvin Hall is also coming into a situation where the Patriots don't have speedsters already. Did they lose Damiere Byrd? Yes, they did. But they also replenished that already. If you want to look at a pure deep threat standpoint, if you want to look at your speedster standpoint, and Nelson Agholor is that guy also. They signed him in free agency. Like I said, you already replenished that. But you also drafted Trey Nixon in the 7th round who would serve as that same purpose. And you have Isaiah Zuber, somebody else that is known for being a speedster, already has a year under his belt with the team, and I think is still somebody to watch here with New England. If you want to look at New England's depth chart in general, when it comes to the wide receivers, you have Nelson Agholor, N'Keal Harry, Trey Nixon, Devin Smith, Kendrick Bourne, Marvin Hall now, Matthew Slater, who doesn't obviously count, against receivers, Christian Wilkerson, Jacoby Myers, Gunnar Olszewski, and Isaiah Zuber. If he wants to make this team, he really, really has to show out. He cannot be dropping passes. That's the best way to get yourself cut, even before roster cutdowns. But New England is also going to be looking for that starting kick returner. You already have your starting punt returner in Gunnar Olszewski, but as a kick returner, still got a lot of questions. If Marvin Hall can get himself in there, we've said this with several guys in the past, that could be how he gets himself on the team. But I could also see this being a situation where maybe if he can make it back to the Patriots practice squad, that could be an excellent kind of situation for them, just because he could really help them out on the scout team and also could potentially be elevated from the practice squad with the new rule that the NFL has kept from the 2020 season. The Patriots very much could elevate him if they're having issues at receiver. Lastly, I will say that Marvin Hall, from what it looks like, got into the process very, very quick with New England. His first day was the second day open to the media for OTAs. So from what we saw, from what we heard, it looks like he was getting into things very quick. Now, it's not like he was standing out. He still has to learn the playbook and get familiar with guys, of course. So I expect to hear more about him as time goes on. Of course, nothing crazy, but we'll see. but he was already out there in practice doing his thing, so you love to see him getting off to a quick start. And nonetheless, it's going to be a guy to watch, but again, he's not a number 1 guy, not a number 2 guy. He kind of is somewhere between maybe a number 3, but probably fits best as like that number 4 guy. And unfortunately for him, New England is kind of stacked in that area. Before we end this video off though, guys, really big shout out to the sponsors of this video, the continuous sponsors here at Patriots Global, and the guys over at betonline.ag. Now, if you don't know BetOnline, BetOnline has the fastest and the easiest ways to bet on all of your sports action. As we all know, football is over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL is a full swing. And BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV with real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline also has you covered for all of the news, scores, and odds, and it's the best way to place your bets, and it's completely free to sign up. All you guys got to do is head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in with the action. Do not forget to use that promo code CLNS50 to receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. New England signs former Detroit wide receiver Marvin Hall, though. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, appreciate each and every single one of you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.